morning. My name is Liz Bowen. I am the sponsor of your local Briargate website, parkbench.com/Briargate. And I have with me today, Austin Witt. He is with WPB Health Consulting, and he has an online business that I know is going to be very interesting to you. So welcome and good morning, Austin.
Well, thank you, Liz, for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Austin, tell us a little bit about your company and what you do.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. So my name is Austin Witt, like Liz said here today. I am the founder of WPB Health Consulting. I'm also, so just to give you some clarity with that, I'm a lifestyle coach, health coach, prep coach, bodybuilding competitor, mountain biker, and then I'm also a clinical exercise physiologist. And you're probably thinking, what in the heck is that? So I work with clients pretty much from the age of, I would say 18 all the way up to the age of 95. I've even worked with 100-year-old. So I've had the pleasure of working pretty much with any adult. So clinical exercise physiology, I'll define that here quick, is working with cardiac and pulmonary rehab patients who have had open heart surgery, who have had a heart attack, stent, anything like that. In addition, like I was saying earlier, I'm also a lifestyle and prep coach, health coach specifically. So what does that mean? So I work with our individuals to help prevent disease so that they don't end up having a heart attack. But I also work with your bodybuilding population where, that's the most extreme athletes I work with. And our goal is to help improve whatever your goals are to get you where you want to be. And just to be clear with my business, WPB Health Consulting, it's essentially an acronym. It stands for Wellness, Performance, and Bodybuilding. In 2017, I created WPB Health Consulting after I received my bachelor's degree in health and exercise science and psychology, on the mission to bring clarity to evidence-based coaching. There's so much misinformation out there, and I wanted to bring a lot of clarity to that. And it led me to going into graduate school. It led me into doing a lot of coaching, specifically virtual coaching. And that's kind of the platform that we use right now. So we use 100% virtual coaching to meet our clients one-on-one. Like I said, meet them where they're at to empower them and educate them on their goals, whether it is preventing chronic disease or to just essentially improve their performance. So we really sit down one-on-one to develop a plan of attack for these individuals. And we're not like your typical fad diets or fad coaching that's out there. We're a small business here in Colorado Springs, and our goal is to really assist from the psychological side first of how we can create sustainable behavior change over time. And if you guys have any questions about our specific business, we do have many resources for you, a lot of free resources. So we have several social media pages. We have a website, and then we also have a podcast. So we have a lot available to you that's for free that we try to get out, so it's not all hidden behind closed doors. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. But that's in summary. Hopefully I could kind of clarify that for you.
Well, Austin, do we want to just go ahead and let everybody know where they can find out more information? So what's your website and the name of your podcast and those kinds of things?
Yeah, awesome question. So first off, if you guys are I would write this down. Okay. So if you're going to first look for our specific brand, the easiest way to reach out to us is Facebook. And all you have to do is just look up WPB Health Consulting on Facebook. From there, you can just message us directly. It's our quickest messaging system. We're also on Instagram as well. Our website is wpbconsultingpodcast.wordpress.com. So our like I said, write this down, wpbconsultingpodcast.wordpress.com. That's our website. But our easiest, most efficient way to get in contact with us is on Facebook. Like I said, it's really, really quick and easy. You can message us pretty much any time, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, and how do people find you on Instagram? Is it the same?
So our Instagram handle is WPB Consulting on Instagram. And if you have any questions about that, like I said, just type in WPB Consulting on Instagram. And you can see our logo and everything pops up right away. So.
Fantastic. All right. So you started this endeavor in 2017.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about your journey getting here.
Yeah, I mean, great question. So the journey for me getting here essentially is in 2017. I decided after I graduated with my bachelor's degree from a small college in Iowa that my goal was to bring clarity to coaching. I was noticing that a lot of individuals were like, well, I'll just go to a gym and get a personal trainer. Well, there's a significant difference. Coaching involves a lot of psychological changes. So deciding where they're at. For many of you who are unfamiliar with that process, that's called the stages of change model. So we are rooted in evidence-based coaching. So we're not giving you fad diets. We're not giving you meal plans. We're making sure we're meeting you where you're at. So with that being said, I had this big idea. I was sitting down with my friends talking about this, and I realized that there was a big gap. I mean, there was personal training, and then there was the new style of coaching, which is essentially what we're doing right now, but it hadn't really taken off yet. And so I was working a desk job 9 to 5, and I decided I was at a point in my life that I was ready to change myself and then create a business. And so I met with several mentors about what that would look like. What was it like actually getting into the field of coaching? And then from there, that's where we're at here today. When I first got started, I had so many questions coming out of college. I thought to myself, I was like, well, if you get a business degree from a university, you should know how to run a business. And that's 100% not true. 100% not true. So there's so many small business owners who are literally doing trial by fire. And what I've learned along the way is you can help prevent a lot of mistakes if you just start connecting with other people. So asking the right questions. I know I am very young compared to some people who are small business owners. But truthfully, I've learned a ton along the way within the last several years of meeting with other people, going to networking events, and focusing on people who have the same vision as you. Because a lot of mistakes are done when you try to, it's more ego driven, truthfully, for a lot of people, where they think they can do it on their own. And they have the mantra where it's, well, if you can't do it, if someone can't do it, it's better you do it yourself, or something like that. And so me connecting with other people in our community has helped me succeed. But like I said, you can avoid a lot, especially if you're a young entrepreneur. You can avoid some mistakes. I'm not going to say all of them along the way if you just start asking questions and really digging deeper. And it's okay to be vulnerable. That's something that I started, I was like, I didn't want to be vulnerable with our business. I wanted everyone to just see it and just say, hey, like, they look like they're successful right away. But I was coaching my friends and family for the first year and a half. And I mean, for basically free. So it was really hard to really get outside of that box, but you have to push outside of that and connect with other people to grow.
I love that. In some of the past interviews where I've talked to other folks that are business owners in our community, one of the things that does seem to kind of be a recurring theme is the importance of networking, of finding your tribe, of reaching out and looking for partnerships. So everything that you're saying is wonderful and in alignment with what a lot of small business owners are doing to not only learn and get better about what their chosen path is, but also to strengthen the community as a whole by seeing how they can partner up with other companies, other, very small business owners, and have that enrich what they're doing as well. Well, I'm sure that this model, doing an online coaching for health business was really impactful, particularly last year and during COVID. Can you give us a little glimpse about what that experience was like?
Yeah. So fortunately enough, we were already 100% virtual coaching platform. And the thing is, like I said, with personal training versus coaching, it's a significant difference. Coaching, think of a mentor, think of a person that's a guide for you. their goal is to help guide you to your goals, right? Whether it's psychological, whether it's exercise, whether it's nutrition. Our coaching combines all three. Okay. So we're not just sitting down with you and being, oh, well, you need to count calories, or hey, you need to go lift weights or go X amount of minutes on the cardio machine. It's sitting down talking about what's your lifestyle look like, what's all of this look like. So we can do that all virtually on our platform, and we can message each other back and forth. So it's really, really easy. But what we do is we do very similar to what we're doing here is we sit down in a call specifically, and we can discuss, hey, how are things going this week? We use data to drive performance. So we have check-ins that we allow our clients to use so that we can base our decisions based off data, and then also the psychological changes, so that we're not making these irrational decision-making processes in person. So we use all this, it's explained week to week. And so what we do, like I said, is sit down with the individual, talk with them in a meeting like this, follow up with the data that they've reported to us. And then last but not least, we create a summary of that data. We send them a recording so that they can review it. And so that gives us the opportunity to do that work from anywhere, and allows the client to not feel like, oh, I have to come into a coaching appointment, and feel some individuals have a little bit of resistance with that. Same with going to a gym. So we want to make sure they feel comfortable wherever they're at. So.
Fantastic. How many folks are you currently helping?
Good question. So I actually totaled it yesterday. I had a double check. I'm actually working with 60 individuals at the moment right now. These are individuals who are pretty much all over the United States, but primarily in the Colorado Springs region. And one thing I will be very, very clear on is like I said, WPB stands for wellness, performance, and bodybuilding. So the majority of our clients are wellness, they're lifestyle clients. They're just looking for some behavior changes. They want to know clarity behind that. How do I get to where I want to be, with very clear picture? And so like I said earlier, coaching is a guide, right? It's not telling you what to do with personal training. So 80% of our clients, I would say, are lifestyle-based clients. And then the other 20% is performance and bodybuilding. So we do work with bodybuilders specifically because that's something personally I'm really, really invested in. So I'm actually a nationally qualified bodybuilder. And I competed last year in the middle of COVID, which was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really, really intense. But I also wanted to put myself in the place of someone the reason why I did it is, I want to put myself in someone else's shoes who wants to know what it's like to lose weight. Because my whole life I was an athlete. I never really struggled with losing weight. And I wanted to know from the most extreme side of things, what that was like. So I really I did it in the middle of a pandemic. So that was really, really difficult on top of that. So, so my goal is to meet all of my clients where they're at and to understand, like, hey, I've been through this. I know what this is like. And I can help you from there. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So tell me a little bit about your goals for this year, and then what you are planning on, or what you're planning for your business moving forward.
Yeah. So the goals for this year. So one specific thing that I mentioned earlier is we do have a podcast. And so how I was able to grow my business is with our podcast, truthfully. I started that out in 2017. I didn't know what I was doing pretty much at all with a podcast, and I just kind of learned as we went. And so that's the longest running thing we have with our coaching business is our podcast. And we've been able to have such a supportive group of individuals who have been, I wouldn't say like routine listeners, but they definitely like reach out and they give me feedback. But we're looking to reach more international and domestic podcast listeners. Actually, we have 5 different countries that we have listeners in, which is crazy to me. I had no idea that people were listening to our podcast, like across the pond. So our goal is to engage more people here in the community with our coaching education, with our podcast, and then make sure that we give clarity with that on the content of controversial questions of, what should I be looking for a coach? Like, is there a certain classification of that? Or how can I help improve myself at home if I don't feel like coaching is right for me at this moment? Can I start by just listening to a podcast and create behavior change? So our goal, like I said, in this next year is to just reach a larger audience, and just to give more clarity to coaching. And that truthfully is our mission. And so I know I keep saying that, but our mission truthfully is to bring clarity to coaching.
Wonderful. And then for the future, what are some of your future goals?
Good question. Yeah, I think for a business side of things, I can go into that. Our goal in the next 5 years is to have a coaching staff underneath us, a full-time staff. We have 3 individuals that we work with primarily right now. We have several business partners that are not necessarily working under us, but have a general partnership. Our goal is to have a coaching staff that's underneath us to help develop more clients, because at some point there's going to be a threshold of how many clients can one coach have.
For sure.
So our goal with that is to create a full coaching staff within the next 5 years. 10 years from now is we'd like to have several coaches in several different locations outside of the Colorado Springs area. One on the West Coast, one in the Midwest, and then one on the East Coast. And so with that being said, our goal is to have a national presence with coaching so that we're eliminating any misinformation out there, because that's truthfully what's out there is a lot of marketing ploys that are fad diets or fad training. So our goal is to really establish that.
Wonderful. So what are some of the feedback that you receive from your clients? What are the things that they really like about what you're doing?
We have clients who have lost, over 100 pounds. And we've had clients who only need to lose 5 pounds. So it's not like weight loss is our primary objective. It's more of the empathy and understanding the bigger picture. Is they want to feel good. They want to create happiness in their lives. And if they look in the mirror every day and they're frustrated with how they look or how they feel, that's what we're here to help change. And so as long as we can do that, that's more important than just a weight goal. Is more of the psychology side of things. Is I want to be able to see my kids grow up and graduate from high school without, having a predisposition for heart disease. So that's one that we see that's pretty often. And that's truthfully our goal is the empathy side of things, is really trying to meet people where they're at. One of the things when I got my master's degree is I noticed there was a lot of podcasts out there that people were just relying on health related podcasts. And so our goal is to provide clarity for free for these people, and they can listen to it on their way to work. If they're at home, working from home, they can listen to it during their day. Whatever it is, it's just an easy thing. As long as you have a smartphone and Spotify or Apple Podcasts, truthfully, we're on all platforms. So if you have literally a smartphone that can play a podcast, or you're on your computer and you want to play a podcast, you can listen to a lot of what we talk about in our coaching appointments, whether it's psychological, whether it's science-based for training, whether it's nutrition. We cover all aspects so that, because people have a lot of questions about them. And so instead of them reaching out to us, there is somewhat of a barrier. People are kind of struggle with that, where they're like, I don't know if I should ask this question. They can listen to our podcast and at least get an idea before they ask the question. So, and we encourage to ask as many questions as possible. So that's one thing that we've been very lucky with. If you're even going to the gym and let's say you're going to go do a workout and you want to listen to a podcast, you can do that. It's not super motivating. I'm not going to say some of the podcasts are motivating, but whatever it may be, it's the accessibility, right? So that you can just literally throw your headphones in and listen to a podcast on literally getting rid of misinformation, giving some clarity to coaching. Like I said, that's our main reason. So people don't want to do the work sometimes and putting in the coaching effort, the psychological change, right? And so our goal is with coaching is reducing that barrier to change, because the resistance to change is what I like to say. And so we always have to inform them we're not doing a meal plan. We're not just giving you a training routine. We're literally meeting with you and discussing with you based on your lifestyle and change that, hey, we're going to meet you where you're at. And we know what it's like to go through this. So how can we help you best?
How about the greatest challenges that you face in your business right now?
So for the biggest challenges that I would say right now, I think it's the limits. I always like to say it's the limits I put on myself. And that's me just being a coach. That it really is. From the business side of things is how much do we want to grow and how fast and how many clients can we take on at one time? There's definitely been times where we've had to say no to clients. I think that's a challenge is we can't accept everyone because there's a lot of disordered eating out in the world. And the thing is we're not therapy based nutritional medicine. And what I mean by that is we're not registered dietitians. So if you have an eating disorder or you have something that's really, really scary that's impacting your life, is we can't take on clients like that because they need more assistance than what we can provide.
All right. Well, I think that this has been great. I've learned so much just talking to you today. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you did want to cover?
One thing that I will say is that we can help educate our clients with their healthcare provider. So if they give them, let's say they do a test, and this is something that we see in our, like the cardiac patients that I've worked with, is let's say they give you a test of an echocardiogram, right? An ultrasound of your heart. And you're like, what the heck does that even mean? Like from the interpretation, we can at least educate you and help educate you if your cardiologist, healthcare provider, primary care provider can't interpret that for you. We're not going to diagnose you, to be very, very clear. We can't do that. It's out of our scope.
Right.
But we can help educate you. Hey, here's like your lipid profile. Here's some things that we can change with our lifestyle change. Labs are something that we definitely can help empower you with and help you interpret them so you know what the heck they're saying, right? So I just want to provide that too, as well as we do work with healthcare providers in the Colorado Springs and outside of our community. So we want to make sure that you guys have confidence in that as well. And that's something that I haven't really talked about, but it's something that our coaching service does offer.
Fantastic. Austin, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Liz. And I really, really am thankful that you were able to bring me on this specific podcast. And I'd love to connect with any other individuals who want to reach out. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on our website, and check out our podcast.
Wonderful. Have a great day, Austin. Thank you.
Thank you.